And we're live. Who all's here so far? Wendy English, Don English, and Wrong English all here together. Unfinished Project and Lars. Twisted Bopar Dennis. Calling Tebow, Frankenstein C20. Hello. Left Turn Dodge leading the No Name 500. It's got to be getting close. Come on, man. Let's get really close. Maybe we can do this before April. What do you think? Get a few more and we'll do a 500 live there. Old McDonald is here. Indecisive Garage. Loaded up and ready to head out to North Carolina. Let me know what your ETA is looking like. Tim. Wrong English. The American flag, there's only one. One flag is all I need. Yep, there's nothing wrong with having multiple American flags. Mean Street Mopar. Lunar Outlaw, mostly Mopar. Running second in the No Name 500. Dan, the IT guy. SSR Performance Big James. Unity Motorsports Andy. Hello from Shady Side Dragway. Hello, sir. Glad you could make it tonight. Mason Roberts says hi. Cutter Down Garage 303. Thumper is here. Indirect Connection Jason. Lone Wrench Mike. Left Turn Dodge at 455. He needs 45 more subscribers. So let's see over the weekend if he can edge a little closer and then have a 500 live, maybe before the end of March. First one of the year. Gen X Empty Nesters, hello. Glad you could make it. Thumper says 455 is one of the best numbers to us Mopar guys. That number means nothing, but I know GM guys, it's a thing. Buff Del Campo, Mohawk 62. Hope y'all are well. What's left to do on the El Camino looking thing y'all are building, Buff? Indecisive Tim says I expect to be there by 4. Okay. Well, I'm working away at my property that's not too far away from where you're staying for the evening, so keep me posted. Worked out sawdust all over me right now. Thumper says 455 means Mopars see tail lights. Okay. Mean Street Chumley, I dropped my W2 heads off at the machine shop on Tuesday. Just having them go over them, make sure they're good to go. Okay. Left Turn Dodge says, I'm wishing for one more to get off that GM number and get a gear ratio. Yeah, you're like me. You like weird random numbers. You want a 456. Well, 457, I think, was also a gear, depending on the way it was rounded. Yeah, I noticed mostly Mopar hit 400 today. The main thing is just blow straight past all of those numbers and get over 5. And then when you stop looking at it every day, you'll be at 1,000 before you know it. Indirect Connection drove past Sykeston today. Not sure what a Freightliner with a DD13 would run. I guess it's a Detroit diesel. I don't know. Possum would let you run it, I'm sure. Gen X Empty Nester, subscribe to Left Turn Dodge. Right on. Well, there you go. There's your 456. Get a little closer. We'll do our first 500 live of the year. Although mostly Mopar getting to 400, he's challenging you. Who knows? Pure Pontiac Garage, thank you for being here. Chris 103 Customs with his lifted van with looks like Gumbo Monster motors in the picture there. Mason Roberts says, my 454 big block is ready to go in my truck. I plan on putting it in tomorrow morning. Excellent. Make some content on that. Maybe stream it. But make some content on that. We'd like to see it. Lumpy is here. Glad all y'all could make it. So you notice I'm coming to you from the equipment and tool repair headquarters of the universe here in Bluefield, West Virginia. My friend Ben Shaw, Larry's Pneumatic Service. I had to come down here and work on a property. Lots of progress, but we'll be coming to you from here. I also took the opportunity to bump up the resolution since I have better internet here than I have at home. And I'll show you all what I was working on today. I'm about 3/4 of the way across that big room. I had to take a hiatus from working on it to do some other things, but now I'm back here trying to get it finished. Evans Mopar Scott. Mostly Mopar hit 400 with a short of him noticing all the broken ring gear teeth in my Duster today. Ouch. Who all recognizes where that's from? Dan, the IT guys there. I do. Levi's here. He says, evening, everyone. Michael Schmidt says, watching to see what everyone is up to while rebuilding a flathead Plymouth distributor. Appreciate what you all do. I swapped a nice low mileage 360 distributor. I think it was a 71 model 360 distributor into my van. The distributor was, it could have used it. The 360 one was just much nicer, so I just dropped it in. I mean, I'm right there at it. Change it just sitting in the driver's seat. So I'm like, while I'm right there, let me just swap it out. Mason Roberts says, I will try, and I don't have enough subs. Well, you can always post content. I mean, we just like to see what you're working on. Putting a 455 in the truck, we'd like to see it. Colleen puts up the link, mostly Mopar. He's a No Name 500 contender. Yep. Running second. It'd be something if he were to pass Left Turn Dodge. He says Left Turn Dodge, he's not getting rid of that lead, but mostly Mopar's been coming on strong. It'd be wild if he were to have some stuff hit over the weekend and pass him. But anyway, whoever closes in on 500 first will have a 500 live, and Chris from Left Turn Dodge is getting pretty close. How many Post-it notes does Ben have on that door back there? My gosh. I can see 5, let's see, 5, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I count 16. No, I count 19 in addition to the 3 other things on there. My goodness. I wonder which one's the oldest. I'll ask him if he comes back in here. Twisted Mopar. I took a break from working on tractors to being a master semi-truck mechanic. Repair technician, you'd have lots of videos to submit. Very hard to do alongside of interstate. But that's the kind of stuff people would watch, though. You know, at least doing shorts from doing road service. My friend Corey, and I've come to you live from his shop before, too. I covered him building his first demo derby car and running it a few years back, you guys will remember. And he has a company that does road service and heavy towing. And man, he'd have a killer channel if he and his guys were doing content every day on the stuff they do. And they have a great shop there. And he's a character anyway. They would make it for a great channel. Indirect Connection says, Twisted Ends, get a helmet camera. I guess that's one way. Maybe a body cam. I don't know. Colleen's replacing the radiator in her minivan. Fun stuff. Yeah, plastic tanks strike again and get you. Turbo Tom 416 says hello. Glad you're here, Tom. Left Turn Dodge says, I earned that gold ASE card. Kind of a waste if I can't get the wife to call me master. And I mean, I don't know. I took all the coursework for it and, you know, never maintained a cert or anything. So I don't know. It's good knowledge, I guess. Dust Devil Brian says, howdy, howdy. Brian's one of our first No Name 500 channels. Looking for him to bring the Duster out this year. Brian has yet to make a solid pass in that car. He took it out on the track one time just to shake it down and have some header wrap come loose blowing around under the car, which Ron and I got a chuckle out of in the tower. But I think that car, he's going to get it sorted out. I think we're going to see some good stuff come from that Duster this year. He's had time to really work out a lot of bugs. Danny AT guy needs to replace the windshield wiper pump on the Kia Sorento. I can see that. Colleen says, can't see the damage yet, but it leaves puddles. Have you tried pressure checking it? Or have you found where it's hissing or anything? Turbo Tom's has been a master since 1987. Man, you've sure seen a lot of change. Dust Devil said he crashed 5 times, didn't hit anything. I guess that was a wild ride between the brakes and the header wrap and everything. But I'll tell you, it was great to see that car go down the track from where he started with it to watching him in it going down the track. And now this year, I expect him to get in it and go quicker. And it's just really cool watching the story of the Duster. Thumper said, I was a master in 2000, never took the test again. I hear that. I probably couldn't pass it now. I mean, well, I couldn't imagine I could, because I imagine all the new stuff that's been added to it since 2003. I'm sure now it's got to be so much worse. CVTs was kind of were emerging then. And we didn't do much of anything with them, but the CVT was just starting to come out. We did nothing with carburetors at all. But now, I mean, I'd say it's pretty wild now. Heavens Mopars, I'm selling the incorrect bed on my 78 D150 and buying a nicer, correct style Warlock bed for the truck. You mean a step side bed? Now I can properly hook up the gas tank without cutting up the bed. Yeah, cool. Yeah, the step side, Ford kept it later than anyone. I'm trying to remember how long Dodge kept it. Could the, what was the latest you could get a step side on a Dodge? Did any of the 81 and up style have that bed? I can't even recall whether they did or not. Did any of the Rams have that bed? Or was it just Tim Grill and down? Y'all will know. Left Turn Dodge took it in 2014. Didn't do much with a carburetor. But I'm a medium and heavy truck mechanic. So, yeah, I got to tell you, when I went to trade school, I will tell you guys 100% of what we did with carburetors in trade school. They took a quadrajet and passed it around in the classroom. Each person can just look at it. He says, that's a carburetor. You're never going to work on these things anymore. And that was in 2002, 2003. But then the irony is Dallas has done a great quadrajet. It's an hour long, all about building the quadrajet that's going to go on the van. So, and if you haven't seen that, you should check it out. I watched the whole thing last night. It's an hour-long video on building a quadrajet. Everything from doing bushings in the throttle shaft to how it assembles and the floats and the pump and the jetting and the metering rods and the whole thing. And it's really cool. It's a great video. Any news about No Name Nationals 2026? News is going to keep trickling out. I've got a few things that we're working on, though. And we'll be talking about them soon. Actually, there's a lot of things that are probably going to be coming through in April we're talking about. Chris 103 Custom says, had NOS bedsides for over a decade. Sold them, I guess, at swap meet for $600. Wow. Wow, that's pretty cool. Old McDonald like Dallas's videos. Old Frankenstein did. Yeah, that's a great video. It's a longer video, but if you want to do something with a quadrajet, that's a good one to watch. Thumper said he should go to the local university and see if I can take some engine machining classes. The machining classes, at least where I am, is New River Community College, but they don't have engine specialty machining classes. And then I took some machining classes at Giles High School, but it was for adult continuing ed. I did that a few years ago. I should really go back and do some more with that. I enjoyed it a lot. You guys saw me make that clamp. Hot Rod Guy Garage Russell. Mopar Den. Good to see you, sir. And your logo there, this, reminded me, my dad had the horn button upside down in his Jeep, and then just one day I'm driving it, and I finally just got to fix this. So I rotated it around. Thumper wants a warm shop with all the equipment, but says he knows how to do all the machining. But you can learn new things if you let yourself. There's always new things to be learned. Mason Roberts says, I might post a short about my shed because it's falling apart. Sure, do it. The place where I get my inspection stickers is here in this town. And he has a shed that's on the property next to the inspection station building itself. And that shed has been falling down for years and years. And every time I go out there, I'm only out there once or twice a year maybe, I just keep watching it. I mean, one day I'll be there and the whole thing will just have gone. It's not even enough for the fire department to burn it. I don't know what was ever in there. Andrew Nelson says, no luck last week trying to get an anodized air cleaner lid. He did try. I reckon he's telling that for Dakota. We'll pass the word. Thumper says there's not a Votech around here, but Northern Michigan University has engine machining. Oh, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, so not all have the automotive machining aspect, which is what I'd be most interested in, of course. But I really like the general machine curriculum. I wouldn't rule it out. I mean, now is certainly not the time I could do it, but, I'll never rule it out. I'm one of those lifelong learner kind of people. Sixth Street Garage says, I think the last passenger vehicle sold in the U.S. with a carb was the 94 Isuzu Pup. I was thinking it was something like that. I know a 91, I don't know if the Metro did. I know the Sprint did. You could get with a carb. I think in 91, GM had something with a carburetor. And then I was thinking, I heard there's something before and after that. So 94 Isuzu Pup sounds about right. Sounds about right. But the carburetors by then were just garbage. They had so much tied to emissions. Brian Beeler of Round 'em Up fame. He says 68 and 69 Dodge Chargers tonight. Where is Dakota? Andrew Nelson tells him about the air cleaner lid, and Brian Beeler tells him that. He needs to know this stuff. You know what? He's been seriously looking for one. I'm going to send him that right now. Surprised he's not in here. There, I just sent it to him. We'll see. He might appear. He might be like Beetlejuice. Hot Rod Guy Garage says 89 up Metros were TBI. There was something GM had that had a carburetor as late as 91, I was thinking. Danny Boyce's old 307 kept a carb till the end. Thumper suggests painting a chrome air cleaner lid. It might be pretty cool. Mostly Mopar says, I graduated from high school in 86, and within 6 to 8 years, all automotive and machine shop classes were gone and equipment sold. Yeah. When I was at Virginia Tech, they had an engine lab, and they had several different stations. And I remember one of them was to teach people how ignition worked. And they had a 225 slant 6 with a point style ignition. And they just wanted something really simple to show people how ignition worked. Your power flow, everything from the battery, your distributor, your ballast resistor, how everything went through the points of the coil. And the distributor sent all the high voltage out to the plugs. And It was really neat. It was just neat to be able to show it and demonstrate it that way. But there was, some professor there, some foreign professor who, of course, had absolutely no use whatsoever for an engine lab. He wanted it gone. He campaigned and campaigned and campaigned. And so when Dr. Vaughn retired, that was it. He got his way, and they threw all that stuff away and put something else in there that I'm sure was a duplicate of 100 other things they didn't need and just had more of it. But Virginia Tech had a nice engine lab until probably 10 or 15 years ago. But it was great when I was there. I really liked it. Thumper says, I was a machinist and CNC programmer for years. Started doing aerospace machine in the 80s on Bridgeport Mills. That's cool. I like that. Even some mowers have fuel injection now. Oh, yeah, I hear a lot of them do. I hear the majority do now. Left Turn Dodge says, our school never had anything automotive related. One year they did have an engines class that got to take apart a bunch of donated junkyard V8s. Yeah, we did small engines at Virginia Tech, and then, of course, a lot more at New River Community College. And, of course, New River Community College, where I built my first transmission, and I said, I really like this. So Evans Mopar's got the rocker and the charger. Then my friend's 64 Dart in and out of garbage. We'll just take that at face value. Then the motor pulled from the white 64 Dart. Now I have Stevens Challenger to put the trunk and taillight panel in. Then my Duster come August. We'll see. Wendy's going to put her ham on for dinner tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, I'll put my peanut butter sandwich on for lunch tomorrow. Should be having dinner with Indecisive Garage Tim. For whatever reason, I get tongue-tied and mix those two channel names up. But Indecisive Garage Tim, he's on his way, I guess, to pick up his truck because he was getting it caged. I don't know if it's on the way down to get caged or on the way back. But anyway, he's headed down there. So he's stopping here. This is about the halfway point for him, I guess. So actually, it's a little further than halfway. But anyway, yeah, he's stopping real close to here. So I said, yeah, man, we'll have dinner. He says garage, but I don't know. I'm not entirely sure, Scott. Lumper said my high school had a small engine class, welding, drafting, and that was it. Today they have CAD and CAM, but no engines. I built 7 Briggs and Strattons a year. I took the small engines. Yeah, we had the small engines at Virginia Tech, but it was just a neat program. It was a lot of theory of operation, just a different thing. I enjoyed that class. In fact, my buddy Robert, you might have seen in my community post, he died here 8 years ago now, but he and I took the whole entire drivetrain out of his race car over there one night and had a seminar on it. And it was really cool. There were probably 100 people attended that seminar, and there were only about 60 in the class. There's a lot of people came out for that. It was a lot of fun. Danny Boyd says, my high school got rid of auto shop in the 70s, and our district was at least 50% agricultural. Yep. Levi says, unpopular opinion, fuel injection isn't that complicated, and carbs aren't complicated either. You just hate wiring. I don't know, you're saying you hate wiring. I don't like excessive wiring. I like fuel injection okay. The problem is, as old as stuff as a lot of us work on, that wiring gets old and nasty, and I like the simplicity of the carburetor. Fuel injection doesn't make any more power than carburetors do at all. In fact, I think John Causey was saying they still have yet to make more power with something fuel injected than carburetor on the same engine. But I just like carburetors. There are certain advantages to fuel injection. I won't deny that at all, but I like the simplicity of carburetors. Hot Rod Guy Garage says mechanical systems are always more reliable than electrical. Yeah, for real. I mean, there's a lot of things that are nice when they're electrical, but they just have to continue to work. I've had people say, well, you just don't understand relays, if you wire things directly. Like, no, not true. If I can eliminate half the wiring by just running a wire direct, sometimes, not always, I would just rather do that. I don't like any excessive wiring at all. Wrong English says we had small gas engines in high school, full teardown reassembly, no torque specs mentioned. Guten tight, I guess. Kerosene Cucumber said, I loved metal shop, had a great teacher, Mr. Griggs, retired Navy machinist, good man, cool. Excellent. Levi says every single engine needs electric, so no ICE car was ever all mechanical. Yeah, but I mean, when you can limit your electrical, gosh, if you can limit your electrical to a set of breaker points, a coil, a distributor, and your plug wires, that's really good. I mean, it's just so much less you can have a problem with. Dakota's timeout says, howdy, folks. Hello, Dakota. Dakota, since you were not here earlier, Brian Beeler's Round 'em Up, his next one is going to be on the 68 to 69 Chargers. And if you've not seen what he does, you need to go over and check it out because he's going to be looking at cars for sale. 68 and 69. He's found a bunch of them. I would check it out. Danny Boyd says a diesel can run with zero electricity. How do you start it with zero electricity? Because if you put a rope on the balancer and pull start it, I'm definitely calling you sir. Old McDonald has a car, no digital machines back in my high school days. You had to know how to read metric and SAE measuring. Yeah, math skills and things like that are at an all-time low. It is simply unbelievable. Turbo Tom's is a Model T, has 12 wires. Yeah, I could probably run through my head and get a lot of those. Wow, 12 wires. That's my kind of wiring harness right there. Old McDonald says, I'm lucky if I have 12 teeth. You're lucky if you don't know how many teeth you have? How many did it jump to with the Model A left turn Dodge? Asks. Well, that'd be a Turbo Tom question. I don't know. Levi states the obvious. He loves yanking old folks' chains. Dizzy says the Vagrant has 4 fuses. Oh, man, he should have made it 3. That'd have been the better number. 4 fuses. I don't know. Fuses have their place, I guess. I like as simple electrical system as it can possibly get. I just hate all kinds of wiring and stuff to go wrong. I like simple. And I'll tell you one thing that bugs me too. And cars were getting really bad about this in the 80s and 90s. The way they would cram all these unrelated wires into different harnesses and make stuff extremely hard to trace out and chase was just miserable. I mean, I don't care if we add, 8 ounces of extra wiring. I would love it if they would just segregate their harnesses into things that made sense. So like if there's 2 separate harnesses going to the back of the car, put them in 2 separate harnesses. So I don't have to sit there and pull all that apart out of the same harness. Again, I guess they could save, 50 cents here and there. They'll do it, but it just made things so much harder to troubleshoot when stuff got to be 50 years old. Mohawk says you can start a diesel with a slave engine. Yeah, well, Top Fuel kind of does that, but they do it with an external starter. Yeah, you can do that. Dizzy said, I did have it as 3. One was added for a high torque starter. Okay. Turbo Tom says the new Wagoneer has 42 computers. I'll take vehicles I will never own for 500, Alex. Mostly Mopar said, I was lucky to take my MIG-TIG arc and gas welding machine shop with lathe and mill machine, small engine repair, auto wiring, auto drivetrain, and a performance auto engine class in high school. Cool. Our high school certainly had nothing like that. I did take welding at Virginia Tech. I learned to weld at Tech. I'm not saying I'm a good welder by any means, but I did take some welding courses there. L&A Auto Works. It sure riles them up quickly, Levi. Huh? Yeah, I guess it can. Thumper says, small engines were and are magneto fired, one wire, a magnet points in a coil, incredibly simple. Yes. Danny Boyd says, pull cord. Yeah, well, you Model T start with a crank. The VW Beetles had a crank provision far longer than most people realize. I want to say it was 65 might have been the last year. So if you look at the back of a VW Beetle, you'll notice on the hood, there was a hood that kind of went down to a peak like that. And then I think it was about 66, 7 right in there. They made it kind of flat on the bottom. And when they went flat on the bottom, it was because they took out the hole in the apron for putting the crank start through there on your crank pulley. All the way up to about 65, there was a hole there. And if you have one of those wrenches that has the teeth that release, you could put it through there and you could start a VW that way. That late. Not that, I've seen videos of people doing it at the car show. I've also seen people just, putting a big pull cord on the VW Beetle starting. There's not, you can start them that way. I haven't, but I've seen plenty of people do it. Left Turn Dodge says, I learned in high school that my welding sucked, so I got a good job welding for my first full-time job. Stuck with it till I learned. Yeah, I'm not necessarily a good welder at all. I can get by. They have a really nice welding machine here, Ben does. He's been threatening to fix it for years now. It's a Snap-on. Really nice. I would say I've definitely done my best welding with that machine. I really like it. Mohawk said, my school was too small to have an engine class. We were lucky to have a woodworking class. My graduating class had 6 people in it. The whole school had about 45. And the IT guy said, I ran manual mills and lathes right out of high school and worked my way up to programming and running CNC lathes and mills and other such things. Cool. Neat. Thumper said, I don't think I'm big enough to hand crank one of my engines. My chainsaw wears me out. Yeah, that's not going to happen. Danny Boyd, I like the square back gas or 2 air cooleds linked up to make a V8. Yeah, I've seen some pretty cool square back stuff. What was that one? Was it one that I think I might have shared the video to it, or I don't remember if I took it or what, but it was a really cool VW square back gasser style, but I don't think it's what it had. I can't remember. Turbo Tom had 360 in my class. There probably wasn't 360 people who ever went to my high school, like ever, beginning to end. left turn dodges. I think we had a few under 200 in the whole high school. And Mohawk graduated with 82 other people. Yeah, where I went to high school was, I don't know, probably about five or 6 miles from here, maybe. Probably not even that. But let's say 5 miles west of here, little private school. Went there from 82 to 94. Small, good place. But I went from there, graduating class of 6 people. I remember having one class at Virginia Tech that had 600 students in the one class. It was a geology class, a 100 level class. 600 people in one class. Squires Colonial Classroom, Virginia Tech, that classroom holds 550. Had another one in there that big. And most classes weren't that big, but I did have some that were like that. Thumper started in 1987 on turret lathes, Bridgeports. Andrew Nelson says, I only had one carbureted vehicle go high miles, 422,000. All the others died before 200K. Today, every EFI car goes over 200K. Well, this is true. And my current daily driver is on its way to 300 plus. I like electronics. I hate electronics, but I won't argue that the fuel-injected vehicles, there's a lot of advantages for just general longevity. If you take apart the fuel-injected blocks like the Magnum, the bores look so much better. 200,000 miles and still have crosshatch in them. You will never see that on an LA, carbureted LA, never. I mean, it's just the way it is. Turbo Thomas at the last class reunion, 40th class reunion, 35 people. Yeah. Well, we would have had my 32nd, of course, but we never had reunions. Danny Boyd said, I think I had like 600 in my class. Yeah, gosh, that's huge. I don't have any idea how many people were in my class at Virginia Tech or New River Community College. I don't have a clue. I actually went to both graduations, but I didn't walk on stage. I just was in the audience to support my classmates. I didn't really have any interest in, any of that. Thumper said, my class was 32 people, had to get kids from 6 or 7 nearby towns and all the farms to get enough kids for a school. And Racer Ray's dad was one of my science teachers. That's neat. Danny Boyd says, my parents and teachers needed my education more than I did. It's not good. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn says, good evening, folks. Hello, Big Mike. Levi says, I can't be the only one who sees the Christmas card from John up on the board, right? Yeah, Ben's got my 2021 and 2024 cards up there. Good eye. Do you see the sign that tells you that there's 180 days, 3 hours, and 20 minutes until the 5th annual AHRA No Name Nationals? Do we see that, Levi? It's up there too. Levi says, I'll send you where we are in the build process. Finish line is in the horizon. Okay. Whatever that means. I'm just reading that Danny Boyd hated school. That's what I'm reading. There were plenty of things I did not like about going to school either. Thumper says, so far only 2 people from my class have died that I know of. Next year is our 40 years. Need to get my 67 Cougar running and go back for the reunion. Well, you need to start now. Of the 6 in my graduating class, 5 of them are still alive. To my knowledge, I know 4 are. One of them I haven't heard from in 20. I guess she's still living. I don't know. Turbo Tom says, my wife has only been to 1 class reunion. We were in the same class. Yeah, my school doesn't have them. They did some kind of reunion thing, and it was some Facebook invite thing. Of course, I never got one or whatever. I was never in the clique or any of that anyway. Yeah, Levi didn't like school either because he says teachers weren't very encouraging. Okay. There's no chance Ben is going to forget and come out that door and get on camera. He will go all the way around to keep him getting on camera. But if he ever does come back in here, I'm going to ask him, how many do we say? 19 Post-it notes? Which one of those is the oldest? Old McDonald says, freshman year we had 2,000. Only had 200 left to graduate with me. My gosh, where is that? Mostly Mopar says my 40th class reunion is on the Saturday of the No Name Nationals, so I won't see any of them. Get them to come out. Get them to come to the No Name Nationals. Thumper says he still has an 8-foot deep pile of ice and snow behind it going in the shop. Well, now's the time. He wasn't interested in anything they taught. Now, if it had been applied engineering, I would have been an honor student. I see, Levi. I haven't opened them yet. Levi wants to show us this. Looks like a MSD box and something there. And then an LS head. Cool. I guess that's where he is with that truck. Excellent. Left Turn Dodge says, I'm pretty sure my teachers thought I was going to end up in the Iron Bar Hotel. Mohawk says, I have only gone to 1 reunion, our 20th, 26 years ago. Wow. Wow. That's back there. Old McDonald says that massive class was Detroit Denby High School. And busing was happening. Lots of schools were moved around. There used to be an elementary school directly across the street from one of my properties over here. And I thought the old school building was cool. You know, I liked it there for that, for the aesthetic. But, man, I do not miss all of the traffic jam at 3 o'clock every day when those kids would get out. And this one big mouth teacher, I can still hear that woman. I can still hear her screaming at those kids. It was miserable. Couldn't stand it. So anyway, so glad to not hear her anymore. But now it's just grass and it's an open view. And now I kind of got like this hilltop view overlooking that part of town. So I guess it's kind of an upgrade. Danny Boyd went to my 20th and drove my old 68 Cougar. Neat. Levi's goal is to have the truck moving by the end of May and racing by the end of June. I like that. Goal has to have a time frame or an action plan. Looks like he's got both, so he can do it. Thumper said his guidance counselor told him to learn to weld. I said, I know how, but I'm going military. Teachers all thought I was slow like Forrest Gump. I don't think like most people. Forrest Gump showed everybody, didn't he? Left turn dodge. I went to our 5-year. Will be 30 years ago this summer. They do 5-year reunions? If I croak today, I bet you there aren't 3 people I went to school with that would even notice. There's probably 3 people who would notice, and the rest would never notice. So I got to tell you, if you're not on Facebook, to most of these people, you just don't exist. Yeah, like I said, there's 3 people who would notice that I went to school with if I croaked, and all 3 of them are right here. One group text, all 3 of them right here. Not that simple. Old McDonald's asking Thumper if he has a box of chocolates. I don't know. So what? I'm assuming pretty much everybody here has seen Forrest Gump, if not everybody. What was your favorite venture of Forrest's? I mean, obviously he did enough for 10 lifetimes. What would you guys say was your favorite thing that Forrest achieved, or his favorite venture? Thumper says the chicks from my class who set it up did the 20 and 30 in November. Difficult for me to get out of here into November. Well, Old McDonald's is the shrimp business. I don't know that I disagree with that. I like that one. The shrimp business was neat. And that one netted him the profit, and I like that. Of course, you think what a skewer of shrimp cost, and then you see those nets just full of them. I like shrimp. I don't get it very often, though. Turbo Thomas is running across the USA. Yeah, the shrimp and the running were 2 things that came to mind immediately with him. In my mind, I'd love to just take off running, and then I'm quickly reminded why I can't. Probably going to be feeling it tomorrow, working on that floor. But I got a lot done. I'm going to go get more done tomorrow. Mason Roberts agrees those were my 2 favorite things, the shrimp and the running. Yeah. Old McDonald says his blonde girlfriend, too. That she's played by Robin Wright. T's Good Time Garage is good evening gang from the strip at Las Vegas Motor Speedway. The good news is hopefully you didn't break anything. I saw T's Good Time Garage as a transmission video up. Check that out when I can. JB's little shop, busy on the house. Wanted to say hello. Hello, JB. Thumper says he grew up in Nebraska. Fresh seafood was not a thing. All the fish there taste like mud. Didn't like fish till I had some from Lake Superior. We're at a place, not in Bluefield. In Bluefield, all food here just comes out of the side of a building. But where I live in the River Valley, we're close enough to the coast. We got a place that goes out and brings in seafood weekly from the coast, and you can buy from them. So we're to where you can do that, but obviously the hot ticket is being on the coast. But we're at a place where we can still get fresh seafood. T hates typing on the phone. I prefer typing on the phone to typing on a keyboard on a computer. Really, I do. Because typing on the keyboard on the computer, I'm a caveman, and on the phone, I'm still a caveman. The difference is because the QWERTY keyboard came out on the phone, now it's all weird spacing. Nobody has that advantage, see? So all these good typists had to learn it the same as I did, so I'm not at a disadvantage on the phone keyboard. I can type as fast as anybody on that. T says, good news is the Duster is here. Transmission doing transmission things, and it's already significantly quicker than the Dart. Oh, okay. Sounds exciting. Tom Hanks knows how to hold a good conversation with a soccer ball, too. Yeah. I feel bad for him when Wilson got lost at sea. I really did. He felt worse for Wilson getting lost at sea, I think, than his wife did for him getting lost at sea. But anyway. Danny Boyd says, the frozen fresh caught fish at Kroger's, orange roughy and swordfish are my favorites. Yeah, I like fish. I really like flounder. I've never caught a flounder in my life. Big Mike of the Hoopty Barn. If anybody is interested in meeting up along the way, Mama Hoopty and I will be heading east April 7th with stops in Kentucky, Tennessee, West Virginia, and North Carolina. Well, let me know where you're headed through, Mike. I mean, sounds like I'm through a whole bunch of that, so you might be coming right through here. T says, old race cars have a few quirks and it's got a few to sort out. Yep, that's just the nature of it, but you'll get it. Fish is great on the grill. Yep, I'd agree with that. Oh, Dean making his crazy nonsensical comments, I see. Old McDonald says broiled salmon is my favorite fish, followed by cod. Salmon's always tasted a little funky to me. Flounder is my favorite. Thumper says, rule number 1, never travel with Tom Hanks. Rule number 2, cardio, cardio, cardio. Okay. Yeah, my cardio was good at one time. I'd do an hour a day on the elliptical. Really liked it too. Danny Boys is especially to an island off of Florida. I guess the last time I was in Florida would have been, I was at Panama City Beach in 2021 as part of a road trip. I was there for an hour. And then before that, I was in Gainesville in 2020 when I did my competition licensing stuff. Mohawk says he's 3 miles off Interstate 65, mile marker 1 in South Central Tennessee. Big Mike says, believe it or not, my absolute favorite fish is bluegill. Okay. I like it. Man, that's like saying my favorite car is the Renault Alliance or something. I mean, But hey, you don't have to pay a premium for your favorite fish. The one-eyed cat says panfish. I can dig it. Fish fry is a thing. It is. I've never eaten bluegill. I don't know if they're bad. I've just never eaten them. I actually like the triggerfish. I've caught a bunch of those. Thumper said his cardio was excellent in 2002 and 3. Got hurt and could barely walk by the end of 04. Haven't run since then. I can't run. Not now. No way. I go down in a pile trying to run on this left knee. But I'm walking more. If the swelling's down, I can walk more, and I need to do that. Old McDonald says, all you can eat walleye. Mason Roberts says, hey, we all like our own thing. Indeed, we do. Vintage Adventure Drives was outside his job running around for fun. Turbo Tom, he missed those cars. They paid good. Yeah, I bet. I bet you worked on them a lot. Mohawk's favorite fish is in a box from Gordon's. I bet you that I've heated up some of those Gordon's fish fillets one time in a year. I do like fish, though. Thumper says lake trout from Superior is freaking awesome. It's like eating steak. Left Turn Dodge says reportedly we have a great fish fry a mile from my house. Never been there. Yeah, I don't go to those. I know churches do them, but I just like fish. Turbo Tom said it paid 10 hours to do a head gasket on one of those. That sounds really, you could do pretty well on that. Yeah, I can see it. Indecisive Garage says smoked lake trout or salmon from Michigan is awesome. Mohawk eats tuna at least once a week. Okay. Left Turn Dodge is in Wisconsin. Every bar has a fish fry every Friday. Okay. Huh. Interesting. Mason Roberts says, what on a fish? And Lars says the real thing. It's fresh fish straight from Old Man Kelsey's Creek. Does anybody in here know about Old Man Kelsey's Creek? Who used Old Man Kelsey's Creek for a geographical marker? I'm going to test you guys. Give yourself a chance without Google, too. See if you know it. Who knows it? Dean says, is that why Cope says fish don't fry in the kitchen? That's from the Jeffersons, isn't it? Uncle Jesse? What does Uncle Jesse have to do with that, Blueberry Walter? Mason Roberts says, who said they can't do a head gasket on a fish? Maybe a barracuda. Green Acres? Nope. Nope. You're close. It was one of the shows that got axed in the Rural Purge of 1971 from CBS, but it was not Green Acres. Well, sort of. Mohawk says, I've never seen Kelsey's Creek on a box. Oh, look at this. Now, did you know that? Did you know that Mean Street Mopar? Did you look it up? Here's old man Kelsey's college, just for you, Lars. Here's old man Kelsey's college. Jerry Clower likes his fish graveyard dead. No kidding. Dizzy says you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. There's your good dad joke. Mean Street Mopar used to watch the Andy Griffith Show. Excellent. So you knew that. Very good. I like that. I like that. I would never forgotten Ernest T. Bass and his geography lesson with the sheriff. Have no fear, the Dougster is here. Hello, Dougster. Dizzy says REO Speedway album. You mean REO Speedwagon? No, McDonald. Aunt B was a gorgeous Miss America back then. I'm just not believing that at all. I just don't believe that at all. There are words to the Andy Griffith theme song. The theme song is like fishing hole or something. And maybe the words were they written retroactively. I can't remember what the story is on that. I've heard it. There's kind of a neat channel here on YouTube, although it's like this much content and this much advertising for his other channels. And it's Andy Griffith Facts and Trivia. Bob Snap. And he's got some neat stuff on there, but again, he'll have a 7-minute video that's 1 minute about the content, and the rest will be all about, what he's doing on all his other channels. He's got like rural comedies channel and different stuff. It's neat. I like his content. I like what he does over there. Vintage Adventure Drives. I closed on my house today. Cool. Excellent. Congratulations. You have a video coming soon of the insanity of moving all my engine and car parts out of my storage unit. Did you close in time for them to record today? Did they get on record today? Because I hate closing on a Friday afternoon and then I have to wait till the Monday. I avoid that like the plague as an agent, because you would hate for somebody to try to grandstand and hold up recording if they find a problem over the weekend. Thumper says Betty White was smoking when she was 26. I'm sure she was considerably farther right on the matrix than Aunt B. But yeah, congratulations, Tanner. I bought my first property in my early 20s and unfortunately kept getting more stuff I didn't need. More stuff to work on. Mason Roberts just came to my head. What do you think about the Cybertruck? I've got a video on my channel that says it looks like a stainless refrigerator that fell over on its back. It's okay. It's just kind of gimmicky. Tanner says closed at 10 a.m. and immediately went to work after. Won't be able to turn on my utilities until Wednesdays. Okay, I get it. Well, you shouldn't have any freeze problems or anything. Hopefully the seller will cut you some slack and give you that overlap if you talk with them in advance. But closing at 10 a.m., they definitely would have gotten on record today. I had recording get held up a week on one here last week. My gosh, man. got held up recording a week and then got held up getting paid like a week and a half. The whole transaction felt like an episode of Green Acres. Dougster says the Cybertruck looks like something I drew in art class in 1981. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, the Cybertruck, and they're capable. They're obviously capable vehicles, but they're very niche. I can see those being a car club type of vehicle in the future. I can see that, you know, kind of like DeLoreans or something. I can see that. But I do not see them becoming mainstream everyday trucks. Kerosene Cucumber, I didn't know that, and I've seen every episode at least 6 times. Didn't know what about Andy Griffith. You talking about old man Kelsey's geography borders to Ernest T. Bass? Thumper says B. Arthur was smoking the entire length of her, smoking cigarettes, maybe. Vintage Adventure Drive says they turned off the utilities. I'll still be living with the folks for a few weeks while I get everything. Yeah, okay. I get it. Yeah, I'm officially broke. So, I mean, I guess you got everything together. If you're officially broke, I'm guessing you probably did a USDA or an FHA or something like that. Scrapped it all together to get down. Sounds kind of normal, but hey, congratulations on being a homeowner. Yeah, watch Ernest. If you go to YouTube, you can probably look it up. Ernest T. Bass Learns Geography, I think. And I particularly like that one. Main Street Mopar says, the other day I saw 8 separate Cybertrucks in my area. Whew. There's a heating and air conditioning company where I live that has one, and they have it wrapped with company graphics and stuff. I don't know. Maybe the thing started getting that surface rust we hear about. Mason Roberts says, to me, it looks like a kindergarten kid drew with a crayon. Yeah, those Cybertrucks, they do look like that. Mostly old parts. Ron Ward is here. He says, hey, folks. Hello, Ron. House wouldn't qualify for FHA, so had to go conventional. Yeah. Okay, I hear that. Yep. Well, FHA is a ripoff anyway. Always has been. So that conventional wound up being a better deal, especially if you got like a 5% conventional. It's a small amount of difference, you know, like it's 1.5% difference down, but you avoided that lifetime PMI, which FHA has. And then the only way to get out from under that is to refinance it. And so that wound up being a better deal. I think FHA, you can still request it once you got 20% equity. You can request them to drop it, but they still keep it for life of the loan if you don't. It's not automatic. FHA is a ripoff, but it's less of a ripoff than paying rent. Turbo Tom paid cash in 1991 for my house. Hey, not a bad way to go at all. Yeah, I get it, Thumper, but Left Turn Dodge says, a lot of them around here are warped. I heard that once they are wrapped, it messes up the stainless. Oh, wrapped, not warped. Yeah, wrapped. Maybe. I don't know. They're just not my thing. Dougster says PMI is the devil. PMI is a huge ripoff. The whole idea behind it is it's supposed to insure the lender till you get 20% equity. Of course, people should have 20% skin in the game when they buy the place. But instead, they insure around that for the bank. But then FHA, here the government is, on the one hand, they make this 3.5% down FHA loan product, but then they want insurance for the entire life of the loan. It's a ripoff. FHA's always been a ripoff. Most of the old parts are on Ward says, Tanner, even if it's only $20, throw extra money at the principal every month. I cut 10 years off my loan just picking away at it. Get the house paid for. Don't spend 30 years, especially a cheap house. For goodness sakes, get the thing paid for. Get it done. Vintage Venture Drive says, apparently no girl wants to stick with me, so maybe I never will get married. I'm going to stick with my cars for the time being. Well, I heard something that was said by Rich Cooper here on YouTube. He says that women, they're not kingmakers. They wait at the finish line for the winners. So you do your thing. Thumper says, cheaper living alone. You are not kidding. Ron Ward says, cars are better than wives, trust me. Vintage Venture Drive says, I fully plan to pay towards principal every payment. I've known that trick since watching my dad paying principal my entire formative years. Let me tell you, if you ever want me to help you, run numbers and such, this is my thing, like creative finance. I've done it for a career for 23 years in real estate, and I'm telling you, get rid of all your debts, smallest to largest, including your house, but just get rid of them. Don't keep debt around just to keep debt around. It's crazy. Just get rid of that debt. Dean says, I had my PMI when I was 20 years old. Yeah. No. Private mortgage insurance is awful. Wendy says, we bought our first house in 1991 and bought the second one in 1996. I think I got the tree house in 1999. And then been collecting a bunch of this other junk ever since. Got one I'm trying to get ready to sell. It's time. I need to move my footprint back to where I actually live. Dougster says, my friend just bought a house and his loan is $1,000 bi-weekly, not $2,000 a month. There is a difference between $1,000 bi-weekly and $2,000 a month. And if you break out your financial calculator, you will see that difference. It's a significant amount of money. It curtails your principal much quicker. But you don't have to set it up that way. You can just pay it that way. The problem is when people start with 30 and they say, well, I'm going to pay it off in 20. They don't. They keep that mortgage around forever. And they just find other places to put the money. I pay extra on the principal. And I have 2 mortgages left. And when they're gone, I don't have it. I hope to never, ever have another one. I shouldn't have to. But I got 2 left and they're small. Thumper said, I did a 10-year note on my land, paid it off in 8, and that was in 2021. Hey, right on. It's a good thing. Mopar K says, hey, y'all. Hello, Kay. Dr. Go says, I'm thinking about living in a van down by the river. Andrew Nelson says, haven't paid a mortgage payment in over 20 years. It's liberating. Yes, it is. Well, what is it? Dave Ramsey's crew says that when you're debt free, you don't have a mortgage, the grass in the backyard feels better under your feet. There's a lot of truth to that. I can see it. Like I said, I got 2 little mortgages left to go. I have more real estate equity than I do real estate debt by far. But the payments are just, I got to get rid of them. And I'm close. I will not fly the white flag and refinance and drop the payments. And I'm just going to suck it up and get this stuff paid for, get it done. And that'll be so nice. No payments, rental income, downsize the one, but I just got to get there. Buffdale Campo says, I paid 2 half payments a month that made a difference. Exactly. That's the difference between the biweekly and the monthly payments. That's correct. You curtail the principal much faster. You curtail a lot of interest paying the principal that way. But they don't make that easy to do. I was actually looking at somebody's car loan one time. They will not automatically credit excess on your payment toward principal. They credit it as prepaid interest on the end of the note. That, to me, should not be legal. To me, that just seems criminal. Because if you are paying in excess of your principal and interest, your excess should automatically go toward principal. decrease the principal, decrease the total amount of interest. That just seems completely logical and reasonable, and they don't. They hide in the fine print that they stick it on the end of the total interest. I think that's so wrong. And you had to call some different place in some different state, and they made it very hard to pay extra principal on this car note. But then again, I don't have to worry about it. I don't plan to ever have a car note. I never have, and pretty confident saying I never will. I just don't believe in financing cars. Most of the old parts says, I love the 100% down and no payments plan. That is correct. And I understand it's not practical to do that with a house. I get that. But man, all that other stuff, just, you can finance anything now. And it's just, I think it's not a good idea. Dizzy said, I've paid off my house 2 times. Wife had heart valve replaced 2019, double bypass 2020, emergency 3 times for asthma January 2021. So you've had to tap into that equity and do it. Well, yeah, I get it. I get it. I know people who've had to pay off their house twice. Vintage Venture Drive says, I've heard my dad say, put this much toward principal. That's the exact same words I plan to say. Yeah, well, get the financial calculator out. I, of course, keep one right on my phone. And, I mean, this is the one I use right here. This TVM calculator. And it's great. It's just got the simple 5 functions. I use it all the time. And you can really figure out how much it's cost. I mean, the 4 most powerful forces in the universe are fire, water, women, and compounding interest. And it pays to have a financial calculator. There's a lot we can do about 3 of those. One of them we can't, obviously. Dougster says, I'm in my late 40s. How many credit cards have I ever had? 0. Right on. I pay cash for my stuff, period. That is correct. I have a debit card and I have a Lowe's card. I do have 2 credit accounts in town here for building supplies so that people who work for me can get stuff on account to work on my stuff. But I don't use plastic. I don't use credit cards. I use a debit card because there's a lot of places that make it too difficult to do cash. But for the most part, I use a lot of cash too. Most of the old parts wrong. Ward says, if you need a new refrigerator, buy used one for $50 rather than buy a new one on credit. Absolutely, I agree. You know, it's amazing how much people throw away. I could live like a king on what some people just throw away. It's amazing. It is amazing. But I mean, you know, I just don't have any big lifestyle or anything. Never have. The medicinal wood chipper sounds like something they used at the end of Fargo. I'll put uploading all the silly stuff I make on here. Sure. Tanner said, if I didn't buy car parts, dirt bike parts, cars, dirt bikes, bases, and occasionally food, I would have enough to pay the house outright. Well, yeah, I get that. Wendy says, I will never have a loan again. It's cheaper. You don't have to have it. It's a lot cheaper. I mean, when you really run what the real cost of money is, that interest, it really adds up. NSB likes to use credit card for everything, the points, then pay it off. Yeah, you can do that. I prefer not to. You can do that. I mean, everybody's got their system. I know other people do that too. Most of the old parts is $8 for a cup of coffee versus $10 for a good used coffee maker. Seems foolish to me. I'm telling you. That's Thumper's music channel. There we go. I like the name. I like it. Vintage Adventure Drive says, my new refrigerator is free from a friend. It pays having friends of advancing years. Yeah. I have a refrigerator I got at a Virginia Tech auction for $10, and I overpaid for it then. A 1952 General Electric refrigerator, and it works beautifully. I have that, and I got my little dorm room refrigerator. And then I have my really nice stainless KitchenAid, but it has all kinds of problems. It has computers in it. I want to push that thing off a cliff. Dougster says, I've seen these wonderful car builds done by my friends until you realize it's all financed. Imagine spending $25,000 on actual parts and repaying $90,000. Makes no sense at all. They don't realize they're paying $90,000. They think they're paying this much a month. They don't add the payments up. If people really sat down and just sketched things out with a financial calculator, it would really horrify them to know what they actually spend on things. I don't know who I was talking with a couple of days ago. We're talking about wasting money. My gosh. Food, smoking, vaping, same thing. Lottery tickets, subscriptions. There's like 4 things right there and car payments. There's 5 things right there that people can just go completely broke over. BNR says, my little brother bought a huge old church in the boondocks, going to live in it. He paid cash. I knew somebody that bought a church to live in one time. They like $70,000 for it over in Giles County. I thought it was pretty cool. Churches, they kind of have some things for us gearheads that are kind of neat. Obviously, they have a huge, great room, to sit sanctuary. Even country churches have a good sized room for their sanctuary. And they always have a big old graded area for parking, which is nice. And they usually have like a covered picnic thing, which is nice. There's a lot of things nice about churches, and they don't have much resale. They're like hearses. So Andrew Nelson does the same thing. He does everything. Credit pays a bill every month and does some cash back for the family dinner. Yeah, you can do that. People can do that. I prefer not to, but whatever system works, the main thing is just, responsibility. But to me, I like cash. Most of the old parts is Tanner. Don't forget the generosity of your friends in advancing years. They would appreciate having the driveway shoveled, man. He strikes me as the kind of guy who would do that. Heavens Mopar Scott says, I was taught delayed gratification. If you don't have the cash to buy it, don't get it. That's a great way to do it. Andrew Nelson says, lotteries are just a way to tax people. No, because tax you can't opt out of. The lottery you can completely opt out of. Guess how much did I pay in tax to lottery? Nothing. Because I just opt out. Guess how much I pay in sales tax? As much as anybody else that buys stuff, because I can't opt out. Ron Ward says, I used to have a lot of money. I spent it on beer and women and just wasted the rest. Yeah. Well, women are expensive any way you slice it, but beer I've not spent on. But believe me, I've had plenty of holes in the boat financially over the years, so I certainly can't say anything. Kind of hard to disguise a church as a residential dwelling. Some places you don't have to. Some places perfectly kosher to, make residential in a church. I would do it. I'd do it in a minute. But I have to find the right property. The problem is that the places I would want to live, you can't find the right thing in a church. But man, to have all that parking, see that church could afford to pave an acre for you. That's really nice. Thumper says, after the X's took all my money in houses, I have invested in rusty old cars and trucks. Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. Dougster says, a guy I work with met the woman of his dreams, asked her to marry him. She said yes. They were planning the wedding and the date. And one day he came to her and talked finance. She was $200,000 in debt. Boom. Yeah, that's important. Probably would have figured that out beforehand. And the sad thing is, it's not about the $2,000 in debt. It's about the mindset of how they got to $2,000 in debt and what the plan is to get out of $200,000 in debt. That's probably the real reason it didn't go forward, not the actual debt. The actual debt, if they're on the same page, they could team up and knock that out. And people have done it. But it's usually the mentality that got up there in the first place. BNR says he thinks he's going to turn it into a huge personal machine shop. Yeah, I think that's cool. Levi says credit is great until it's not. Buyers beware. I get credit offers just relentlessly all the time. Man, I couldn't care less. I don't Want to do it. Got a little bit to pay off. I mean, like I said, I got two mortgages left. I've had 3 in my lifetime. Never had a credit score to get any of them with. You don't have to have a credit score to get a mortgage. Tanner says, I bought a car, road tripped it home, and then bought a house within 2 weeks. Had enough money to do all that. Just had to be willing to be broke for a few weeks afterward. Yeah, I get that. Whiteside's Workshop, 65 this month. I bought my first new truck last fall. Married with a child at 19. Now still married and retired with 0 debt. Right on, man. Cool. Danny Boyd lives in what used to be a girls' school. Neat. That's neat. Dougster says he's seen so many people graduated in high school who shafted themselves with credit cards right after high school. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you something crazy. I remember when I was at Virginia Tech, out of the blue one day, I got a credit card from MBNA. I didn't ask for it. They just sent it to me. They just sent it to me. And I opened it up, and it said I had a $5,000 credit limit. I didn't have a job. Well, I had a job. I was a work study at Tech. But you know, certainly not a job, you know, where I had much money. I mean, I was just making a little bit of textbook money and gas money. And I called them and I said, why do I have a $5,000 limit? They just said, well, you know, if you go to Virginia Tech, like they're banking on you having a good job when you get out. I'm like, this is crazy. This is crazy. Credit is a game you got to learn to play. No, you can opt out of it. You can completely opt out of it. You don't have to play it. I mean, I know the game. I know it well. That's why I don't play it. NSB said, I would have been 100% debt-free in August, but had to stop a subdivision from being built next to my farm in Tennessee. Now I got 10 years to go. I was so close. Well, but it sounds like you got a nice piece of land to show for it. So, hey, you know, you do what you got to do. I understand that for sure. Mostly Mopar said, I had a couple put off their wedding for around a year after we discussed finances during pre-marriage counseling. The guy had 4 maxed out credit cards she didn't know about. There's probably more than that she doesn't know about, too, if he's got 4 maxed out credit cards. Whew, what a mess. Mopar K says, I won't open a credit card. Can't be trusted. You know what? That alone, if you know you can't trust yourself to have them and you won't open them, that puts you ahead of a lot of people. Dizzy says my score is 735. When I log into Credit Karma, the blanks, the dials are blank. Most people, it has a credit number, and they're usually real close. Mine are gray, and they say NA on both of them. I don't have a score. I don't need a score. I do not need one. Yeah, you can always get a secured card to start it and seed it and all that, but I really don't need. It's not different here so much, BNR, as it is. There's ways to operate around it. Hey, I get it. I get it. Most people have good intentions with cards and don't follow through. Some people are highly disciplined with the cards and they can be okay. I prefer not to use them. I was just helping a friend work through some scenarios on financing a house and how to pay off debt, and and we worked through several scenarios. And the thing is, you got to do the one that you can live with, the one that jibes with your risk tolerance. I got to tell you, it's better to be debt free. I mean, everybody's different. Hey, and there's Dallas. He says, I'm living this live right now. Yep. Everybody's got a different deal, what they want to do. There's Dr. Go. Levi says the only reason to have credit is to get more credit and more debt. Well, yeah, it's a vicious cycle. Really, it is. I mean, the way you get a high credit score is by managing a lot of debt. I mean, you wind up paying a lot to get the high score. Who really came out there? I mean, the only way you come out is when you wind up with assets that appreciated because you could get them sooner. I get that, but I prefer a debt-free life as much as possible, and I'm working toward that. I was trying to be debt-free at 50. I'm not going to make it, but I'm still going to be debt-free by 53, 54, or something like that, probably. One-Eyed Cat says, we don't have a credit score either. For most of 20 years, if I needed a loan, I'd take it out of my 401k. DNR says, you're a financial advisor. No, I'm just interested in finance. I'm not giving anybody advice, nothing. I know some financial advisors who do it professionally. And I was the principal broker over a property management company until just a few weeks ago. I was doing that temporarily while Eric got his licensure time in. You got to have so many years to get a principal broker's license. He owned the company. I was a broker over it. He recently, finally, after like 6-7 years, got his principal broker's license, and we transitioned him into being the principal broker. So I'm still an associate broker at the property management company, but it's a whole other ball game. The only rentals I fool with are my own. But I do like real estate. It's been a nice career. Levi says, paper money is awesome. Wish the world would go back to it. I'd be fine. Of course, young people have to learn how to count. Dougster says, someone close to me has a cycle, buys nice stuff, buys speed parts, goes into debt, sells it for a fraction of the value, then files for bankruptcy and repeat. Yikes. Yuck. Dallas likes to buy with cash or barter deal. I agree. Left Turn Dodge says, I have the highest credit score of anyone I know and zero debt. That's good. That's good. But you have to manage a lot of debt to keep the score up there is the thing. I mean, everybody I know that has scores, significantly over 800 have managed a pretty good amount of debt to get them that high. The highest score I've ever seen is an 848. NSB says, saving up your money starts working for you. I agree. It takes a pretty good chunk to get there. Most people don't get to that chunk. Cop Car Steve says, greetings to my friends from the Great White North. Right on. Ron Ward suggests if you sign up for a Harbor Freight credit card and get the Harbor Freight inside track on the same day, they'll give you a pair of jack stands. They've already figured in how much they're gonna get paid for those jack stands, and I bet when you average it out among all the customers, it's pretty significant. Izzy says, I have zero credit card debt. Right on. That's definitely the best amount of credit card debt to have. I got into some pretty significant credit card debt when the market absolutely collapsed. Back when we had the big financial collapse of 2008, and I paid back every dime of it, every penny. And then, done. Dizzy says, 91 on a 260K house on my debt. Hey, yeah, there you go. At least you're not upside down. You got equity. That's a good thing. Max Wedge Dick Dashley, I haven't got a score. You don't have to have a score. You really don't. Thing is there's been this, there has been this really bad idea that people have conflated credit scores with self-worth, and they think that when people don't have a score, it means that they're not credit worthy. That is not true. I've borrowed money many times on a handshake with people who I know who trade paper and so forth and so on, and paid it back. It's just, it means you don't work in the commercial or the secondary market to have a score. Doesn't mean we're not credit worthy. It just means we don't have a score. I don't want a score. I don't need a score. Dougster says, wise man once told me rich people don't have lots of money by spending it. There's a lot of truth to that. Ron hasn't had a credit card since 1997. I don't remember when I got rid of that two that I have. I put a lot on them when the market collapsed a lot. I mean, it was ugly. It was bad. But I dug out from under the ashes and paid back every penny. NSB says, I think most people have to learn the hard way on credit cards. This is true. Most people do have to pee on that electric fence for themselves. Bigfoot's Mopar says, luckily I married a nurse. She makes lots of money. Cop Car Steve uses his credit card once a day. Forgot to use my debit card as it wouldn't work because it's been so long. Yeah, I don't know. JB says, cancels every one of my credit cards. Took me a while after the wife passed. She lived on them. You're cleaning it up, huh? Ron said, the only time I've had an issue with not having a credit card was when I worked for NMCA. Jenny wanted me to rent a car at the airport. I have never had a problem renting a car ever. I've rented from Enterprise a number of times on a debit card. Never once had a problem. There was one time in Roanoke, I was having to rent there, and because I was going somewhere in the airport and flying, and they said it was like $100 additional deposit or something if you do a debit versus credit. It was something like that. That's it. But I've never had a problem with not being able to. Never once. Wendy English says, I've got 2 credit cards. I use them once a year to keep them active. I only have them for emergency. Well, Don said you don't have a score. I guarantee you if you're using credit cards twice a year that you've got a score because they're going to report to the bureaus. I can tell you, places, most of your mortgage companies and definitely your banks can underwrite a mortgage without you even having a score. They're going to look at your bill payment history. They're going to look at what you're putting down, your reserves, your income. They can work around that score. They certainly can. And there are people that have a great score, but they don't have anything else going for them. Like they don't have any income. That's a bigger problem still. Ron says, I didn't have a debit card then either. Yeah, but he had 1,200 cash as well. Yeah, I tend to go more that way. I try to carry a pretty good amount of cash just in case, but it's just never been a thing. Dr. Go says, Dave Ramsey said his credit score was 0. And for fun, we went to a large apartment complex and applied the rent, and they denied him. Yet the complex was for sale. He said he could pay cash for it. Yeah, I've heard him say that. This is true. This is true. Mopar cases, there's rich people who don't ever spend money but have lots of money and they can't get financed sometimes. Never worry about that problem. If you have plenty of money and can't get financed, don't ever worry about that problem. That's nonsense fear mongering. If you have plenty of money, you'll be able to do stuff. Dougster says shop truck is an all cash build. I refuse to go into debt for it. Yeah, right on. People will spend $10,000 on a fishing trip and won't pay $50 to change their oil. These problems are usually self-correcting. They will usually go bankrupt, and whatever they wouldn't change the oil in will get repossessed and whatever, and so forth and so on. I look at some of these videos occasionally from finance managers at car lots, and it is unbelievable what people will spend in finance. Credit scores in the 5s, roll the negative equity into something else. That shouldn't even be a thing. But these car lots will do it. It's just crazy to me. Crazy. And they wind up paying literally, I don't know, 170% for the car by the time they finance it out. And these 6-year loans, are they doing 7-year loans? I think some places are doing 7-year loans. I think on some of these expensive trucks and stuff that cost 70 and 80,000, they're even doing 96-month loans now. 8-year loan, is that 8? No, 72 is 6. That's a 7-year loan. No, that's 8. 96 months, 8-year loan. So imagine you got this vehicle, you got an 8-year loan on it, you got that big payment, you got it for all that time. Don't you know you're going to have all kinds of stuff that's costing $1,000 going wrong here and there all over that vehicle by then? What's going to have a working screen in 8 years? I mean, gosh, when that screen takes a dive, that's $1,000 right there. Not me, man. Big Mike said the same principles can be applied to insurance premiums. We have an interest-bearing savings account for health emergencies. Also, a significant amount of property can be liquidated if necessary. Yeah. Insurance is a racket. It's a scam. It is a scam. Dizzy says paid cash for my Fury. Yeah. And the biggest scam in insurance is whole life. Oh, gosh. It is the worst. It is the worst. And they try to sell you on the idea of borrowing against it. There's just nothing worse. I hear it's like a thing that college students go around trying to sell now. Will never have a whole life policy. It sounds good on the face for about 10 seconds till you start reading into it. Danny Boyd says only car payments ever made was buying a car from friends who agreed to let me make payments. Oh my gosh. New cars, money pits, yes they are. Mostly old parts. Back in the mid-1980s, Southwestern Bell would buy thousands of company cars. They wouldn't pay to have them serviced and sold them at $25,000 as low mileage. Sounds kind of wild. Andrew Nelson says, last 2 cars we bought at dealerships, they argue with us that we could avoid payments. It was beyond their capacity to understand that I was paying cash each time. They don't want you to. They make a lot of money financing. That's where the money is in those places. Wendy has credit, Dawn doesn't. Yep. Dougster says Klarna and the like evil is 4 monthly payments. Yeah. And you can finance anything like DoorDash, for instance. You can finance your DoorDash food deliveries. And it doesn't help your credit if you pay it off, but if you fail to pay, you're shafted. Yeah, I guess they report if you don't. My gosh, financing your DoorDash? That's like a new level of crazy. NSB Custom Cars, that was the main reason we sold out our business back to Coates was health insurance. We were paying close to $3,000 for 3 people. Yeah, that gets crazy expensive. Thumper says, I just put a prompt in my AI music generator about the No Name Nationals, and it knows it's in Missouri and the whole idea behind it. The AI result for No Name Nationals was really rough a few years ago, and now it's much closer. It still has a few things that aren't quite right, but it's much, much closer than it ever was. I would say it went from being about 20% right to being about 90% right. Last I heard an AI result for it. Mostly old parts. Financing DoorDash is not a new level of crazy. It's a new level of lazy. Oh, both. I would completely agree. Anton Daniels, who's an entrepreneur on YouTube, said that DoorDash, both receiving it and working for it, is a way to stay broke. I can see the hustle of it, but I mean, becoming the customer of it, I don't know. I don't know how that would work for people that if they put their money back into it. I don't know. But I can tell you that the people who are paying big money for those deliveries are just staying broke. B&R says you can't obtain full coverage on a vehicle older than 8 to 10 years now in Illinois for a daily driver. Just get antique vehicle full coverage. Yeah, it sounds to me like that'd be hard to get a payout on if you were in a wreck, though, at least a meaningful one. Left Turn Dodge says DoorDash itself, unless you're disabled, is a new level of lazy. I'm telling you what, that's the people prioritize their laziness above all anymore. It is unreal. It is unbelievable. It is just unreal. I mean, ordering groceries online and the stuff that people have delivered, it just is unbelievable to me. Danny Boyd's never ordered DoorDash, hasn't ordered delivery in close to 10 years. Yeah, I don't either. Levi gets pizza delivery. Yeah, I mean, I haven't had a pizza delivered in 20 years. We have two pizza places just right down the hill from my house. Got Papa John's and Pizza Inn. And then there's Domino's out on Roanoke Street. There are at least there's 2 pizza places within 2 miles of my house, and there's 3 within about 4 miles of my house, and probably a few more if I really sat and thought about it. Not gonna lie, I got a DiGiorno pizza in my freezer right now. They were on sale at Kroger. They're not bad. Cop Car Steve, I don't see a problem with doing DoorDash on a Friday or Saturday night as a treat. Hey, yeah, do whatever you want to do with your money. You earned it. I'm just saying it's a lot of people just use that to be lazy. But hey, people who treat themselves and do whatever they want with the money you earn, by all means, do whatever makes you happy with your own money that you earn. Thumper says nobody's going to DoorDash food to me 25 miles from town. I could see that. Left Turn Dodge says, we have our groceries delivered. It's 20 minutes each way to the Walmart. They deliver 13 a month and we get a free streaming service. Yeah, I mean, sometimes there's a niche for these things. I mean, there's a lot of things I get delivered, like, when I orders parts, like Rock Auto and stuff, yeah. And a lot of that, with integrated shipping costs and stuff, it makes a lot of sense. Big Mike says, we have Walmart drone delivery in the little town 10 miles from us. Yeah, drone delivery, one of the first places in the country that had drone delivery was the town I live in. That's where Wing is headquartered, and I think still is. And they have this little drone lot that's right in the middle of town, and it's got a chain link fence around it, and then it's got that stuff that's like it's printed. That's behind that printed fabric that goes in there. It's branded with their logo, and they fly deliveries out of there all the time. They're like probably 500 to 1,000 feet from Walmart and lots of restaurants and stuff, and so they fly drones out there and deliver all the time. And so we were very early to the drone delivery thing. Danny Boy says, seems like DiGiorno was way better 20 years ago. It's all right. I like it better than Red Baron, but, I saw that it was on sale yesterday, and I grabbed a couple. Bigfoot Mark says, I've got no car payments. At last minute, bought a bumper-to-bumper warranty for $4,700, and my warranty is actually paying to replace my 6.4 Hemi. Good. Glad they didn't deny you on that. I've had very little luck with warranties and insurance and stuff like that. So I've done better just, keeping things and paying and that kind of thing. But, there is a reason to get insurance, but warranties are a little harder. So I'm glad yours is working for you, though. BNR says, turn the furnace thermostat down to 59 to 61 Fahrenheit, saved hundreds on the last power gas bill. Yeah. I keep my heater on eco mode on 68. I mean, the good news is the house I'm over here working in has a really nice heat pump. It ought to. I wrote a big enough check for that thing, but it's got a nice Train 3-ton heat pump and just stays comfy in there. So it's going to be cold here tomorrow, but I will have good heat for working. Mohawk said it's kind of irritating when I'm trying to shop at the grocery store and the people doing the online shopping for people to pick up, getting away. It's getting to be more and more of that. It's getting harder to shop because of that. Thumper says, I got a call to extend my warranty was about to expire, so I renewed it for another 20 years and it only cost me $17,943. Levi says Red Baron Pizza's made right next door to where I work. It's gross, but yeah, I get it. Yeah. For 50 cents more, you can get DiGiorno. At least that's typically how it breaks down at our Kroger. So why not? Or for about 3 or 4 times more, you go to Papa John's. I mean, it's just, it's just not. We set the wood stove to comfy. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Dougster had mentioned this before. I think this is a neat hack here. He says most mom and pop pizza places will sell you fresh dough ball for cheap. Get that and pizza toppings from the grocery store and make your own killer pizza at home. Yeah, I don't want to try that. Unfinished projects had just got in. Dart Sport. Most of the old parts are on board. I've been thinking about No Name Nationals. Skelton's crew has been amazing for this event. Please thank them. They're all stars. Charger 383 Mopar William. Hello, sir. Thank you for stopping by. Levi says Papa John's gone downhill since the man himself left. Well, they booted him out, which I thought was just stupid. I mean, he built the real empire. They should have kept him. William says he got the Charger fired up today. How's it running? Left Turn Dodge says the wife makes sourdough pizza crust and her own pizzas. Best ever. Sounds delicious. William says it needs tuning. That sounds awesome. What carburetor are you running on that? Most of the old parts felt shafted last time you ordered a Papa John's pizza. You only got one pepper in the box. Yeah, Dougster's talking about Papa John found this Camaro and bought it back. Papa John, if you haven't heard that story, Papa John Schnatter sold his Camaro that he had. It was like a 71 or so, and he sold it to fund the first Papa John's. And then years later, he decided to put like a $250,000 bounty on finding his original car. And he did. And he did. Yeah, that's right. It's a demon, Barry Grant Demon. Yep. Left Turn Dodge says I'll probably bring some no-name bakes to the No Name Nationals. The Empire of Rust says Bueno Gang. Hello, sir. Glad you could make it. Yeah, Ben is jamming in there. I don't know if y'all can hear that. Empire of Rust asks how goes it. Goes all right. Smacked my finger pretty good with a hammer today. Yeah, got myself in the head with that pry bar, a couple months ago. Big old ugly mark on my head. Today I got my finger, not too bad, but it smarted pretty good. Can't seem to do that flooring work without getting banged up. I'll be glad to be done with this stuff. Get off that floor. I never thought I'd be excited to get to painting and pressure washing and stuff, but I think I'm going to like it a lot better than working on this horrible floor. It is just so rough doing this stuff. Charger 383 Mopar's got the video on his Charger going live right after this. So there you go. So we'll finish up right on time. You can go right over and watch William's video. Indirect Connection says, I'm back. What did I miss? Everything. Kay's asking, have y'all heard of the Mopars Collector's Guide? I would say virtually everyone here has heard of the Mopars Collector's Guide. Empire of Rust took his 63 Olds for first test drive. Cool. How'd it go? Yeah, I like the Mopars Collector's Guide, Ron. That's pretty neat. Now we've been talking about credit and debt, and we've been talking about pizza for the most part. Thumper said, if any of you want to use the music I'm putting on the Medicinal Wood Chipper channel, feel free. Very cool. Well, the radiator is no more. That's how his test drive went. Sorry to hear that. Just hope it didn't get hot. Left Turn Dodge says, I was in the Mopars Collector's Guide in 97 or 8. Yeah. Max Wedge Dick Dasher says, I do have a score, 541. That's a horrible score. But any score can be rebuilt. I mean, if you want to. You're better off just getting rid of the depth and rebuilding the score, in my opinion. But anybody can build a score back up. Thumper says, Deegan says radiators are paramount. Just don't let Deegan be drinking any antifreeze. Cop Car Steve says, this weekend I hope to get my car ready for collector plates for the 85 Mustang. I'll keep you posted. Neat. Put some content up on your channel. I'm digging it. 85 Fox Body Mustang. That sounds cool. Empire of Rust says it didn't get hot, but the radiator's destroyed. Yeah. I don't at all lament losing the plastic radiators I've lost in different cars over the years. They're garbage, but I did have a motor mount break and tear up a really nice 3-core radiator in my Dodge Dart once. It was just made me sick. I still have it, and I could get it record. That's just what I should do. The tanks are so nice. Probably wind up doing that one day. Tanner says, my score went down a bunch thanks to applying for a home loan. Your score goes down 5 points per inquiry. All inquiries within 30 days count as 1. Probably the 50 points is your new debt ratio, but it'll all come back. Just make your payments, make them on time. It'll all come back. And he says the radiator was in great shape. What kind of radiator was it? Was it a brass tank that originally went in that 63? Recording the radiator is crazy expensive. Yes, it is. But, you know, this is a nice 3-core brass tank, original 1970 Mopar radiator. It's worth it. Cop Car Steve says, I think it's the last year of the carburetor, 505 speed. Yeah, those last carburetors are pretty rough with emissions, though, but yeah. Left Turn Dodge says, last month my credit dropped 4 points because I let my car get up to 1,000, paid it off, it'll come back up. Yeah, I wouldn't sweat 4 points. The big thing is once a bill is over 30 days late and you get a late payment on your credit, it's not late until it's 30 days late, though. So if you miss a payment day by 3, 5, 10, 17, or 25 days, it doesn't really matter. It doesn't report to the Bureau until it's over 30 days late. Not that you'd want to abuse that. But right now, we're at our time. And William is premiering his Charger video. He said it's live. I don't know if it's a premiere or if he's just putting it up. But we're going to go ahead and wrap on time tonight. I want to thank my host, Ben, here at Larry's Pneumatic Service. Let us use the shop when I'm out of town here working. He's really good like that. But you guys have a wonderful weekend. Don't forget to watch Tech Talk Live on Wednesday evenings on the Slant Daily Garage channel with Dallas and Professor P. Also, if you've not seen it and you want to, there's a 1-hour-long Quadrajet video on Mr. Rotter's neighborhood of Dallas rebuilding the carburetor going on my van. Hopefully around the first part of May, we'll be putting that on the van sometime in there. But with that, you guys have a great weekend. Have a good evening too. And I will see you guys next week.